Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever been so busy trying to solve today's problems that you didn't have time to prepare for the future? If you're a business owner, right, chances are that you have lived that reality. You're chasing invoices, trying to make payroll, responding to customers, managing staff, trying to put out little fires here and there. And somewhere in the middle of that, the future quietly arrives on you. That's what happened to Bed, Bath, and Beyond. This wasn't a, company that nobody knew. For decades, it was one of the most recognizable home goods retailers in North America. People bought towels there, kitchenware, furniture, wedding gifts, home decor. The stores were everywhere. The business generated billions of dollars in revenue. It had loyal customers and a strong brand recognition, right? Even years of success, showing track record of successful operations, generating revenue and business. Yet, in 2023, the company filed for bankruptcy. How does that even happen, right? Let's perform a financial autopsy. Because I don't think this story is really about retail. I think it's about what happens when a business slowly loses the ability to make good decisions, because cash becomes increasingly limited. At its best, Bed, Bath, and Beyond had a simple promise, huge product selection, recognizable brands, convenient locations, customers knew exactly what they were looking for and what they were going to get from the business. So the business expanded across North America, sales were strong, the company generated billions of dollars every year. For many years, the model worked. Success created confidence, and then confidence created stability for the business. And stability created the belief that the future would continue looking, like the past, like it has always been. But businesses rarely work that way, right? Markets evolve, customers evolve, technology evolves. And the question isn't whether, change will happen. The question is whether your business has the financial capacity to change with it. The first warning signs weren't empty stores. They weren't bankruptcy headlines in themselves. They weren't even liquidation sales. They were customers' behavior changing, right? So customer behavior was changing on the company. More people were shopping online. Competition increased. Margins became smaller and tighter, and even traffic slowed for Bed, Bath, and Beyond. None of these things looked fatal by themselves, right? But together they began reducing financial flexibility for the company. And that's the important phase right there. Financial flexibility. That's something to take serious note about as a business owner. Because businesses rarely fail the moment sales begin slowing down. They actually fail when slowing sales remove the ability to respond and to respond fast. So let me even analyze how this progressed in 5 stages, like I always like to do, right? So the first stage is what I like to call sales slow down. Imagine your business generates, say, $100 million each year. Now imagine revenue declines by just 5%. That doesn't sound, catastrophic, but that's $5 million less coming into your business, right? So if your expenses remain largely unchanged, options immediately become smaller for you, right? 1 year of reduced flexibility is manageable, right? But several years of that reduced flexibility then becomes dangerous for your business. Stage 2 is what I would like to call cash becomes tighter, right? So when revenue slows, leadership faces difficult decisions, right? Trade-offs is what we like to call it. So they ask questions like, do we invest in technology, or do we renovate stores, right? Or do we reduce costs? And how do we even reduce costs, right? Do we hire? Do we expand, right? Do we protect liquidity? Every decision competes for the same limited cash. The business isn't simply managing money anymore. It's managing trade-offs, and it must make the right decision to avoid negative consequences that would worsen the situation. So stage 3 is what I like to call the business becomes reactive, right? So this one is one of the most dangerous stages that any business can actually enter, right? Instead of asking, what should we build next? Leadership begins asking, what problems can we solve today? Cash flow pressure, changes behavior. Long-term thinking becomes short-term survival when things like this happen, right? Innovation then slows down. Investments also slows down. Confidence then weakens, right? The organization then becomes increasingly reactive, just trying to quench small fires here and there and just trying to keep its head above water to survive, Stage 4 is what I'll call suppliers lose confidence, right? One lesson many founders underestimate is this. Suppliers are watching and very close at that, right? When payments become slower, relationships become weaker. Inventory becomes harder to secure, business partners become cautious, very cautious at that, and confidence begins disappearing for the business. And the thing which is the most important things business owners don't know is that confidence in itself, right, is increasingly difficult to rebuild after it has declined. Stage 5 and the final one is what I'll call options disappear, right? So this is the stage every business should work to avoid at all costs, right? When cash becomes scarce, every available option has already become expensive. The business now needs major change, but it has fewer resources to fund that change, right? It needs investors' confidence, but confidence has already weakened. It needs supplier support, but suppliers' relationships have already deteriorated, right? It needs customers' loyalty, but customers have already developed new habits and gone to other competitors, right? Based on the changing behavior I highlighted earlier. Now, the business hasn't just lost money, it has actually lost time, and time is running out. So when Bed Bath and Beyond entered bankruptcy, many people, saw it as the end. From a treasury perspective, it was the point where financial flexibility had finally disappeared. The company no longer had enough room to keep adapting while it was still meeting its current obligations, right? Bankruptcy wasn't just a one-time event or a bad decision that just, happened all of a sudden. It was years of gradually shrinking options that brought them to that conclusion. Now, as a certified treasury professional, right, the case reminds me that treasury really is about protecting choices for the business. If I were reviewing this business as a treasurer years earlier, I'd be asking questions like this. How much free cash flow do we generate after covering all the important and essential obligations, right? Then how many months could we continue investing if sales decline by another 10%, right? Which expenses strengthen the future, right? I'll also ask things like which expenses simply preserves the past? And then finally, are we protecting liquidity while transformation is still affordable? Treasury is really more about growing the business, enabling growth strategically, not just about counting cash, right? It's also about ensuring that decisions remain possible for the business, right? So when decisions are made by executive team, the company is able to execute operational initiatives and strategic initiatives that ensures that it remains competitively advantaged in the marketplace. The cash flow prioritization matrix teaches something every founder eventually discovers or gets to learn, right? Within different situations they find themselves in business. When resources becomes limited, everything cannot happen at the same time. Every dollar invested somewhere is a dollar unavailable somewhere else, right? The question then becomes, what deserves our dollar today? Does the decision strengthen survival? So that decision that deserves your dollar, does it strengthen the survival of the business? Does it improve stability? Does it even create sustainable growth? Because it's not just about surviving in your business, right? It's about also sustainably growing, because you have to fund the present as well as the future, right? Also, you have to ask, does this decision we're making, expense decision, does it simply delay an unavoidable problem? Because great businesses don't eliminate difficult trade-offs. What they do is they make better ones. Now, let's make this practical. Take your monthly revenue as a business owner. Now, calculate what happens if it falls by 10%. If your business generates, for example, $800,000, right, per month, a 10% decline in that revenue amount means losing $80,000 every month, right? Now ask yourself, would your business continue operating comfortably, right? Or would every decision you then have to make suddenly become stressful and put you under some sort of pressure, right? List every expense that you have in your business. Now, I want you to categorize it into this matrix. This is a simple exercise that you can do very quickly. Using the cash flow prioritization matrix, which weighs all of your cash outflow within two major criteria, impact and urgency. Within the four quadrants, which are named, so quadrant 1 is called critical growth needs, quadrant 2, delayed investment, quadrant 3, operational and essentials, quadrant 4 is called discretionary expenses. You want to take all your cash outflows and allocate it within each of these quadrants. Now, the first quadrant will be those expenses that directly impact the growth of your business and that are urgent. So it means you need to prioritize them now. Now, the second quadrant are for cash outflow expenses that, are not urgent in themselves, but they also impact the growth of your business. These are investments you want to make, like expansion into a new city, opening a new store, investing in a technological system, right? Maybe an enterprise resource planning tool or a technology system that will enable you to serve a larger base of clients, right? And then the third quadrant, take the cash outflow expenses that just help you run your operations and make sure the lights are on, right? Things like insurance, admin expenses, office, expenses, and just some very minimal subscriptions that needs to happen for your business to serve its clients, right? And the fourth one is called discretionary expenses. Those are the cash outflows that you don't really need to spend on. They are not urgent and they are not impactful on your business growth. These ones you need to completely reduce or eliminate, right? These are things like, maybe premium marketing that you cannot clearly see how it will convert in terms of giving you the return on the investment. I hope you also check your return on ad spend, right? When you check your return on ad spend, you will know what marketing channel is not generating returns for you, and then you need to reduce or eliminate that, right? So this is just the cash flow prioritization matrix and your expense cash outflow categorized to guide you on what decisions you need to make today. So should I prioritize these expenses, quadrant 1? Should I delay these expenses in quadrant 2 and plan to spend on them in the next 3 to 6 months or 12 months, right? As your cash flow allows you. And the third is telling you, should you streamline, right, for more efficiency? So if you're subscribed to multiple platforms, can you just streamline that so that you don't spend on the same platforms that basically give you almost the same utility, right, in different aspects? So you want to consolidate, centralize, and streamline your operations, right, to be more efficient. And the fourth and final is you need to reduce the expenses in the fourth quadrant or completely eliminate them. This simple exercise alone can completely change how you think about spending and how you actually spend for your business. Because when cash becomes limited, everything may seem to be a priority for you. Bed, Bath, and Beyond didn't fail because selling home goods suddenly became impossible. No. It struggled because changing customer behavior gradually reduced financial flexibility until adaptation became increasingly difficult for them. And this is a lesson, every business owner should remember. Your greatest competitive advantage isn't simply your product, or even your marketing, or even your revenue. It is your ability to keep making good decisions while the market changes on you. Cash flow protects that ability, liquidity preserves that freedom, and financial flexibility keeps opportunities available for you to be able to utilize. So as a business owner, protect those three things: your cash flow, your liquidity, and your financial flexibility, right? And when you do this, you give your business a far better chance of writing a different story. So at what stage do you think Bed, Bath, and Beyond, could have still changed its future? I would like to know your thoughts in the comments, so please drop them. So I would like you as a business owner, before you get into your busy week, to ask yourself these critical questions. If my revenue declined by 10% tomorrow, what would I stop spending on first? Also ask yourself, which of my current expenses are preparing my business for the future instead of just preserving the past or only the current state, right? Ask yourself also, am I spending more time reacting to problems, than preventing them? You also need to ask yourself, how much financial flexibility do I actually have if my customer behavior changes unexpectedly? Then ask yourself, if I looked back 5 years from now, what decision would I wish that I had made while still having cash to be able to execute on that decision? Because at the end of the day, businesses rarely collapse because of one terrible day, one terrible situation, or one bad news, right? They collapse when each month leaves them with fewer options than they had the month before, right? So your job as a founder, as a business owner, is not just to focus on growing your business, but it's to protect its ability to keep, choosing its future. And you choose the future by making one good decision at a time about current state, about the future, and about ensuring that the way you allocate expenses and cash outflows is a way that balances your investment in the future as well as maintaining your current operations. Now, this case studies is just to provide educational content so that we can learn from previous mistakes and apply to our business so that we can grow sustainably, right? So if you enjoyed any of the insights, please like this video and subscribe, as I'll be executing and conducting more financial autopsies on other businesses in the future videos.